Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna be shaky because I am holding my phone and this is probably not gonna work. My name is Ayn and today I'm gonna talk to you about the difference between academic and trade publishing. I have worked in both and I do remember very clearly at the beginning of my publishing career actually not knowing whether I would be able to get into trade after having started off in academic publishing. All right. So I'm going to start by saying that academic and trade publishing have always had a very different reputation. Trade publishing has always been the really cool publishing place to be, very glamorous. You get all like the cool authors and events and you just have to imagine it like the sparkling kind of publishing. Whereas academic publishing has had a reputation of being a little bit dry and boring and where all the very serious people are. I have worked in both. And actually, I really don't think that that's an accurate depiction of either of those different kinds of publishing. I mean, is trade glamorous? Sometimes. Is academic publishing dry? Again, sometimes it is, but it can't just be that one is dry and sad and depressing and the other one is just like glamorous. That's just like not how things work. So I want to share a little bit about my experience working in both academic and trade publishing to kind of demystify a little bit of the myths around these two different kinds of publishing. I started my career in a very small open access academic publisher. At the time, I remember thinking that open access sounded really, really niche, but it's actually a huge market, especially in the academic world, and is definitely something that if you work ever in academic publishing, you should be familiar with. My experience was absolutely amazing. I loved every bit of that internship. It wasn't a particularly glamorous one, I'll admit that. There were a lot of spreadsheets and just a lot of admin, but the people there were so lovely to me, and to this day some of them are my best friends and mentors. That just goes to show that actually landing your first publishing job really shouldn't be about your dream job. It just needs to be a place where you can get some experience. My work there was mostly focused on sales and sales administration, but there was also some production involved, which was really good for me because actually I kind of started to realize that that was not really something that I would enjoy doing in the long term, but at the same time it was a very helpful thing to know how to do. The other company that I worked for that is also an academic publisher is Oxford University Press. Now, Oxford University Press is the biggest university press in the world. So I went from working from a 12 people's team in a very small academic publisher to then experiencing what is it like to be in a very, very big academic publisher. Working at OUP has got to be one of the highlights of my career. I not only have met amazing people, but I was actually given the opportunity to step up in my role and to progress. And I think, it was such an interesting eye-opener for me because the structure and the way of kind of approaching jobs was very different from what I had experienced. So I didn't go from the small academic publisher to the big academic publisher. I actually went from the small academic publisher to the biggest trade publisher in the world. I was working at Penguin Random House a few years ago in between my first publishing job and my job at Oxford University Press. When I was working at Penguin Random House in my first job, which was as an international sales operations assistant, and it was very interesting to learn about the international markets and to see all the sales managers in action with clients and customers. It was the first time that I attended London Book Fair as a publishing professional rather than just as a student, and I had some meetings with clients, which was absolutely brilliant. And that's when I really knew that I wanted to be in sales. And sales is something that has always been of interest to me, but I wasn't until then that I realized actually what is going on in the actual day-to-day of a salesperson. So that was an amazing thing for me. But then at the same time, I was in a very desk-based role. So as a sales operations assistant, I would deal with a lot of the admin, I would deal with a lot of the boring stuff. And that's when I realized that actually everything that people had glamorized about trade doesn't just apply to everyone. So sometimes people think that is just so cool because you get to go to events and meet authors, but that's only true for certain parts of trade publishing. I've always thought though it's quite weird that people think that something should be a great job just because it's glamorized. I mean, have you ever watched The Devil Wears Prada? Like, have you? Glamour is not the best place to be when it comes to a job. What you should be thinking of is, do you have a supporting company behind you? Do they offer training? Do they look after their employees? And these things are true for both academic and trade, and I have had some great experiences. I've also had some not so great experiences, so I'm gonna admit, both in trade and academic. It is fair to say that my experience has been that academic publishing was one of the most amazing places for me to work in. Now, I'm not trying to take away from trade publishing. I am currently working in trade publishing and I'm enjoying every little bit of it. But what I really want to highlight is, if you want to get into publishing, you shouldn't be picky, you should be flexible, and you should understand that actually there are some brilliant opportunities both sides. Whether you go to trade or whether you go to academic, you'll be able to later on switch between the two if you feel like that is not the right content for you, or if you have like a big passion that you want to pursue. What I don't like is labels, and especially nasty labels. The purpose of many academic publishers and university presses is of a very, very important level. They look at spreading education and supporting education across the world. They look at influencing social issues for the better. And I think that is something that you should never forget. When I moved to Oxford University Press, one of the things that I really wanted to was a job that gave me purpose. I wanted to be part of a mission that I could feel was aligned to my values. And I thought that the educational mission that OUP has was absolutely perfect for me. Now, that is not to say that trade publishers don't have a mission. And I know, for example, for the publisher that I work with right now, what I really wanted to be a part of was the possibility of driving change through storytelling and just really being able to highlight and to support amazing writers in their journey and to also reach new audiences. It is very important to remember that actually trying to work in a place just because it's glamorous or because it sounds cool, you're gonna get disappointed because you're gonna find out that actually that's not all that is to it. And sometimes, sadly, the places that have got the most glamorous reputations don't tend to be that great. And that's it for me. I just wanted to talk you through academic and trade publishing, and this is like a little bit of in a nutshell video rather than something that's super comprehensive. But if you do have any questions about either or, please let me know so that I can create another video exploring this in more depth. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and to like this video, and leave any questions in the comments down below. Bye!